passing through the wave like a jet ski. I'm just trying to live, little mama, don't text me. Watching from afar like a star, this the best seat. I'm just trying to win when I swim, this the best seat. I got them all uncomfortable though, they say I'm arrogant. I thought that I was...
What's up, people? Hey, listen, I told y'all I was bringing new content. What I wanted to do was get people who are actually in the trucking industry and continue to give back to that community. So for the first guest, no other than a guy who I've learned a lot from, stalked this page when I was getting started and took some tips, especially in the hot shot. But I got my guy Craig from Crown C&C Transport. What's up, Craig? How's it going, man? How's industry been treating you?
Having me, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you know, we was just talking right before we got on. I had to turn that broadcaster voice on, but nah, man, I wanted to get you on, number one, to, you know, highlight, you know, your successes. And like I mentioned, I have been following you for a long time. Definitely appreciate the game you put out. And I don't even think you do it to, you know, try to be an influencer. You just kind of show your journey, you know, have your business page. Because I know you're a Giants fan. I know you're a girl dad, you know, all those type of things I picked up on. But right where we're at in the current market, how have things been in the hotshot industry for you specifically?
It's been rough. I mean, especially when I first started, the number one thing, you know, shout out to RPM Transport. You know, he was one of the guys I was reaching out when I was starting out, asking him questions. I mean, you know, the number one thing, you know, he told me was, you know, just, you know, if you're out there, especially in the good, when it's like summertime, when the rates are good, save your money. You always like save your money because when it comes December, January, February, it's rough. And he always, you know, he also told me like, shoot for directs. He kept pushing that to me. So, you know, right now, that's what I've been learning, you know, especially in this industry. I've met a lot of good people, even like brokers. Like I got a couple brokers that just kept it real with me, like how like some of these rates are. And that's why I kind of went, like right now, it's been a little rough, but I've been mostly with directs, you know. Yeah, so I've been, you know, so after I do my loads or whatever, you know, they cash, you know, Zelle me my money, you know, when we deal with the
brokers. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So y'all got a good relationship then if they Zelling. I know they call you Mr. In and Out. I've been seeing you go to Florida a lot. A lot of people try to stay away from Florida. What's the secret there?
I mean, with the secret I do, you know, especially when I'm doing the directs, I tell people because, you know, I can haul cars. Cars ain't really that great. So what I do is like if I do a freight, if I go to Florida, man, my race ain't gonna be $2, you know. It ain't gonna be no little $2. I'm not going to no Florida. You gotta really pay there. So
right.
If I do go, but I do bring cars back, I'm still proper, you know, because if I go to Florida for $2 a mile, I bring cars, but I'm not really making that much money. So that's what, you know, how you doing. And, you know, I go out there, and you know, because I dispatch myself. You know, I tried dispatching, but I'll be dispatching myself.
And me too, man.
Tried it when I first started, but when I saw how much the percentage, I'm like, I want all my money.
No, facts. Do you does your wife help you, or do you do it all by yourself?
Helps me, but I'm so picky. That's the thing. Like, I know what I want. I already know where I want to go. So, you know, like, I was like, what you do? I was like, I have an iPad on my arm. I got 2 phones. I got one phone there, you know, that keep my, you know, the tracking and all that. And I got my other phone on keep trucking. I got my iPad on that. So you know, and I always tell people, they like, you know, about the carrier package. A lot of people, they know it, you know, the Dolby fill. I was like, nah. I was like, it don't take that long to fill out no carrier package. You know, I was like, once you hit your first letter or number, it's automatically filled. A lot of people, like, for real, like, a lot of people did not know about Adobe fill. Just they're send it right back to you.
Right. Now, I started using that when I was rolling too. And like you said, once you fill it in one time, it's gonna auto generate for you. Because when I got started, I was thinking like, dang, I'm gonna have to have a printer. Like, how I'm about to do this. And I was looking for softwares and found Adobe Fill, and it's free too. So if anybody's need to know a software to fill out your carrier packet or any of your paperwork, Adobe Fill and Sign is free. You could download it at the App Store. Right. But you said something. You said you take higher rates going into Florida, and you usually haul cars out.
Yeah, so I take higher rates, but, you know, I kind of try to stay away from Miami. I try to stay within, like, Orlando, Tampa area. Like, them, for some reason, they pay a little bit more as far as vehicles, you know, especially, like, Fort Myers, you know, like the guy told me, like, nobody, like, you know, there's no guys down there. So that's why if you go to Florida, the races. It's just because everybody down there. So I try to stay.
I always wonder why.
Yeah,
Like, with them being on the water like that.
but it's cycles. He says more trucks down there. So, but that's why I say like Orlando, like Monday, I gotta have an oversized load going to Orlando, which is paying great. Paying like $4 or something, just to go to Orlando. So, but then if I don't find no rate or whatever, then, I booked a couple of cars and I'm gonna still average out, over a little bit over, and like over close to like in the mid twos by the time I get back home. So that's how, it works for me. That's what I tell everybody. It's like you can't really follow the next person path. Like, some people want to stay out 3-4 days or 5 days. I'm like, I go in and I come right back out.
Oh, for real? So do you ever sleep in the truck or you usually get right back home?
Yeah, I say where to sleep. Like if I go to Florida, like Monday, I leave here to go to Florida, go to Orlando. Yeah, I'll sleep in the truck and wait for them in the morning, unload, go get whatever I got and break the next day, and then I'm headed right back.
Okay, so you're not doing the them weeks or 2 weeks out then?
I was back when I first started. I was kind of doing it, but I don't do that because especially with the directs I got, they always. It's me. That's what I tell like with the directs. We have like maybe like 4 or 5 of us, and when we just kind of rotate through that, and a lot of their stuff is south. So if that guy can't do it, then we call the other guy, and then we just be flip flopping, and get their freight.
Yeah. So I've always noticed that about your page too. Like it always seemed like it was direct freight coming from people you probably had relationships with. When you got into building that list of direct customers, what type of methods did you take to actually secure them?
I mean, what they do, that's why I tell people, I was like, first get you like a team, because when you get directs, they want to know if you got more than one trucks. Like in Atlanta, it's like maybe like it's like good about five of us. So I'm like, yeah, I got 5 ready, we ready to go, so they feel us a bit secure. Like, okay, he got truck, because they don't want to call me. Then I can't do it, and now they got to throw it on the low board. If I can't do it, I'm at RPM. He do it. If he can't do it, the next guy do it. But their freight gonna get moved. So they've been happy. We got 2 companies like that. One in North Cross and one is in like Stone Mountain, and it's mostly like building material.
So with that, y'all kind of got like a little consortium. Is that all different companies? Because you say RPM, and I know
we kind of deal with 2 of them. Yeah, just 2. One is we did. They did. If you see all these little big buildings with the warehouses coming up, and they contract the people that go out there to put up aluminum side and all that, and they need their supplies out there, so they put they pay and put out their supplies on the truck, and we take it right out. I like them too. They'll load you at night and anything, but they just need the supplies.
So on the customer side, you got a handful, but within like that group of truckers who you were talking about, y'all are all different companies, right?
Yeah, all different companies. So you make it seem like I got guys that's ready to roll.
Like, that's good. That's something I don't think a lot of people know they could do. I mean, that's something I'm learning because it's like, hey, I got 50 trucks, but really I may only have 10 under. If it's a big contract like that, or if you got a group of boys who all rolling. Then sometimes y'all be rolling together, I'm sure, at some point, getting loaded and moving. So that's good info. So if you need, in securing contracts or securing directs, it would benefit you to have, be in good contact with other people who have multiple trucks or a truck, so that y'all can all be multiple trucks. Oh no, that's what's up. I just never thought about that.
For the company, you really don't have to like, if you got one 18-wheeler, but if you got bunch of reliable guys, you could just like, hey, I got like 5 trucks, they really don't, all they worry about, you put their name on their CUI and their freight is secure, that you're reliable.
That's good. So do y'all have any do y'all still try to get new shippers, or are y'all pretty busy with who y'all work with?
Yeah, like getting the rest is kind of hard, these 2 guys, I've been dealing with that we've been dealing with that for years. So, I've tried to get other load. It is pretty hard. It's consistent, being like far as consistent with the freight and always calling you. It is pretty hard, because, when you first start, you put on a suit and tie, try to go out, try to persuade these guys. It's a whole bunch of them, but they be like, they need people, but there's two people that were there where they really do call us there. You know, we still try to get more. You know, we still try to work to get more directs out here.
Yeah. Now, y'all had to been providing great service because I know some people get their directs and then get kicked off. So to be working with them for years. Yeah. Now, you had said something about the car. So obviously on the semi side, they can't really do that. So what is, in your opinion, what's one of the benefits of being hot shot versus semi? Have you ever thought about crossing over? Have you ever, I seen 15 years experience. So have you ever ran the semi for yourself?
I've ran, you know, I was driving trucks with, you know, for companies for the long, you know, I started with Schneider, of course, and then I started with U.S. Foods for the longest. So I'm debating because I have a couple of guys hot shot that switched over to step decks, like AJC hot shots. He's one of those. Shout out to him. You know, he really tried to get me, and then I got another guy out there in Charlotte. And you know, step deck, how I move probably be the route I go because I kind of still move the same way as I move to the hot shot. Because with the step deck, you know, I'm you know, if I do go to Florida, stuff like that.
But yeah, just throw the ramps on there.
Step deck and chassis. Them the two I'm kind of looking at, you know, pulling on the containers.
The container. Port of Savannah, we've been in Port of Savannah. That's all I know in Georgia.
Port of Savannah and Charleston. I got a broker on this lady. She, you know, she pretty cool. She tell me like, hey, I get you on. I got the contracts, you know. So I'm kind of leading between there trying to, if I really, you know, which route I want to go as far as step deck or chassis.
Yeah. Is the current market kind of having you think about that, or has that been something you always thought about?
I always thought about, and then when I see the hot shot race go back up, I'm like, okay, I'm good with that. I need, you know, to tell my wife, I was like, I want to change, you know, get kind of more with the hot shot, you know, so I want, you know, want to change and get a bigger truck, you know. So
yeah, that fuel mileage definitely going.
Oh my God,
that fuel mileage gonna take that hit, but
hey, like the Florida area, because you know, like what I do here is like, you know, I'll fuel up and I get my gas in Jackson, Georgia, like $3.61. I'll fill up, you know, get my whole experience, and then I can get me to Florida and back without touching Florida fuel.
Man, so in your 15 years, you know, if people go follow you on, we'll tag it on here, but on your bio, it has 15 years experience. I always see you posting like Mr. In and Out. And, like your grind has been consistent over the years that I've been in, and I'm sure, you know, way before that. Have you ever experienced a time like this where it's just so much uncertainty and freight demand and fuel prices are high but constantly fluctuating?
I mean, there ain't a lot. This year is the worst, right?
Yeah.
This year has been the worst. I mean, you know, my partner was just talking about it. Even when I first started hot shots, and then I know around Christmas, I was like, oh my God, hey, you know, that's the first time I was dealing with hot shot. Like, freight is, but you know, fuel was still cheap. So now, you know, and I was, you know, we were still able to move with cheaper fuel, but now it's like freight is cheap, but fuel is high. So man, God, I like you said, I've been saying, like, I probably, you know, I respect your honesty. You're like, man, this is not worth it. You know, there's a couple of guys like, this is not worth it. And, but it's like, I'm hoping I'm seeing fuel go down, rates seem like it, you know, it's going back up. You know, I always tell people like, around March, April, you kind of start seeing it go back up. But it's like, I'm hoping, because I'm seeing the fuel is going back down. But I ain't gonna lie, this year's has been the worst I've seen it since I've been in the managed.
Nah, look, this how my situation played out. We so around this time last year, we started going into that war with Ukraine, and you seen fuel going up, but you also seen rates like up there. I was like, okay, as long as rates stay right there with fuel, then we good. $3.60 a mile, $4.20. You know, we're averaging up there on the flatbeds, and we got higher fuel costs because we, you know, higher mile per gallon, but it was sustainable. Okay. So then I had a group of guys. I guess you could call them investors, but they had trucks at one place. They was like, hey, look, we want to come over to you. I'm like, bet, we going to do this. I'm like, hey, look, this is how it's about to be. We're going to do this. I understand fuel's high, but rates are good. So we start onboarding. So in the summer, me and my boy Chad's out there all day, every day, putting straps on the trailers. Like we're getting the trailers. They bringing the trucks. We're supplying the trailers. We doing all this work, making sure everything ready. And June came, And I was like, something ain't right. And my dad was doing all the dispatching because I was doing the work. And so I'm just getting on him. I'm like, Dad, we can't take stuff like that. Like, he's like, I'm telling you, it's nothing on there. And I'm like, oh, it's something on there. You know, so call somebody, and the customers we was working with either didn't have as much demand or their rates had dropped. And then, of course, the load board was getting terrible.
All right.
And so right when I got this influx of trucks, that's when everything started going down fast. So July, I was like, all right, maybe it's going to turn around in August. August, I'm like, it's going to turn around in September. September, I was like, all right, now this is getting out of hand. And then the thing about how I was approaching that situation, working with people, now I'm answering all these questions. I started to feel like, all right, now I work for y'all pretty much. And so I didn't like that. I just was suggesting, look, park y'all's truck. Let's park them, and then we'll, come back when it picks up. But it didn't pick up month after month. So I was like, man, this is, I need to make a decision here. And over the last year, I had been working in other industries, not really expecting this. It was just more so because of opportunities and getting invited to certain places. And that's what made it easier to park them. But I was like, it's a lot of folks who are not if you're the driver, although I'm sure you're seeing less profit, but you still the driver, but now when you have to pay out all these drivers and they don't have control over the maintenance and all of that different type of stuff, the repairs, it was like, all right, we had guys getting arrested. It was getting crazy out there. I don't know if it was you. I seen somebody post, like, why don't you put people under your authority? And it was like a meme of, because they gonna F your shit. That was you? Okay. So what's your thoughts with leasing people onto your authority?
I got to somebody here. I say, because I tell everybody, because I got a friend, she's a female, it's a fall truck. She brought her own trucks, and she be like, she have trouble finding good drivers. I didn't know it's so hard to find good drivers. And then she had an incident too. She found a driver, but then he left her truck in Birmingham, and it was at the pilot for almost 3 weeks. And she I'm trying to call somebody to come go get my truck, and he just basically parked and left. And, and that's the benefit. Yes, that's another thing. If you are an owner, you need to learn how to drive the truck. You got to go get it. But she don't know how to drive her own truck. So he was just stuck there. And she was like, I'm trying, she's like, I can't get my truck back, But I've been seeing little nightmares like that. I was like, I tell her, do your home. I mean, the best way is just do your homework,
Yeah.
Do your homework, find a good driver. You can't just throw anybody in your truck. You really got to do your background and make sure, they just go reliable, because everybody's, like me, I'm just a little scary, to put somebody under my authority, and you just go up there, jack it up, my insurance go out, and on leave and go get you another job. And now I'm stuck with,
Yeah, they can, drivers definitely can. They don't have as much liability. They mess your stuff up, and you left with the big bill. I remember I was hiring fast. I wasn't hiring slow. And I hired this guy. He was talking. He was like, man, I did this. I verified with the company, though, but he hadn't driven in 2 or 3 years. Day one, he turns over some low pipe, tears the airbags up under the trailer, busts one tire, but then because the airbags were leaking, or whatever the airline was that he broke, the tires weren't even spinning. So he drug for a good amount of time the other tires. So I had to replace 4 tires, get the airbags replaced, brackets, all that within 12 hours of hiring this guy. And I think what happens when you get too many trucks too fast, you just trying to fill them. All right, do you qualify? Cool. Do you qualify? Cool. And one of my mentors in the construction industry told me, always hire slow and fire fast. It's like, okay, that makes sense. But what you said about your friend who doesn't have her CDL and her truck got abandoned, I feel like social media has that. They're not talking about that. People legit will sell you a $2,500 course and never tell you any of the bad possibilities. Get your CDL. If you're gonna have trucks with other drivers out there, get your CDL, because at some point it will get dropped off. I've had four instances where my truck got abandoned. One in Arizona, one in Virginia, 2 in Texas. And then I had an instance where a driver broke down in Missouri. He was a brand new driver, last 4th of July. And having my CDL, I took him another truck. So sat with that truck, got it to a shop. And it was just beneficial to have my credentials to be able to move around like that. And trucking is not one of those businesses where you can rely on, I'm going to make a call to somebody with a CDL. Because chances are they probably working already doing something. So you're going to have to wait on their time when they come back in town or something like that. So as a person on social media, seeing all the different influencers popping up, what would you say, like from a person who's actually in the industry to someone who's looking to get into hot shot and then potentially to move into semi?
My first, like, especially at the truck stop, they always pull you at the truck stop. There's a lot of people that like, I want to do a hot shot. And I tell people, some people could kind of have no trucking industry, jump into the industry. I was like, you kind of benefit because I had a cousin. Do what you do, Craig. I was like, but he's like, you don't want to be a company driver. So try to company driver, for a little bit that you can know the road. Because there's a lot of rules out there. Not just like a personal car jumping in and just go. It's like, get your CDL. I mean, if you think you're ready, you have your CDL and jump into the hot shot. I say, good, but I say there's a lot that comes with it. It's not just strapping and going. I know the rules, the DOTs, and it's so much. And then when I did, of course, I kind of knew the rules from working, driving, trucks and stuff like that. So, I tell everybody, it's like, but if you do it, I was like, just trying to, learn, saying the rules. And it's part of the maintenance, too.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the things when I first got my truck. I took it to Dodge a couple of times, and I was like, oh, my God. And after I was like, I don't know, when I started off, I'm like, YouTube University. I'd get on YouTube, like, how I do that. And now, I do pretty much everything myself. If this is something major, I'm not touching it. But I got to tell everybody, it's like, do it. You just got to learn this industry. Because I was like, these DOTs are out here, will eat you up. Hey, you come out here blind.
Right.
And it's because a lot of people want to do it without second shot. Tell straight up, nope. I said people that when they claim they doing good without the CDL, but I was like, man, I'm like, nah. I'll tell you, like, look, get your CDL. You got to get the A with the air brakes, hit it so that you can run, hot shot.
Right, get it. Yeah, you could get it in your hot shot setup. I didn't know that, so I got mine. I'm glad I did get it in the semi, but like my interest in hot shot, I seen it at a truck stop, and I was like, man, what's that? My girl's dad was in trucking a little bit, and I had never really talked to him about it, but we dropped him off, and he was like, oh, that's hot shot. He was doing it actually. He was like, that's hot shot. I make this, and I heard the numbers. I was like, I bet I'm in, and I was like, it's a dually, it's a trailer. I could figure that out, and jumped in. And like you said, not knowing, luckily, I was diligent in learning the rules and regulations, but there were a lot of times I'll be at the truck stop and my stuff is completely wrong. Paperwork, and another trucker will be like, you got this, you got that. They helping me out. Like I ain't have DOT inspection. I ain't have a lot of stuff that I needed when I first got going. And even still though, if I could start over, I would get all my processes in place, get all my systems in place, and get mentorship. I didn't even know that there were, now I wouldn't pay $2,500 for mentorship, but I'd reach out to people like yourself, people who actually doing it, and see if I could, buy some time to really figure out what it's like to really be out there, what type of issues you run in with DOT, what places to stay away from, because I done been in some Confederate flag parts of Alabama, and I was worried I wasn't going to get up out of there. So, that's cool, man. What's some crazy experiences you have went through being on the road?
Crazy. I'm not. Well, it's just mostly like you always see me like kids. I know DOT need to be out there for safety, but sometimes they could be real low. Like I had one white guy. He was cool, but then he would try to get me because of my ticks. And that's the first time that was one thing. Even though I drove trucks, I didn't know like the driver and the passenger had to be clear. So I know it. So I was like, the sun and all that, I'm trying to explain. I was like, be being. He said, no, commercial vehicles have to be clear. They got to be clear. He kind of let me go. But then he was like, well, then another one, he was like, he's like, where's your instruction card for your ELD? And I looked at him, I was like, I don't know how to work my ELD. He said, no, you have to have the instruction card in your truck in case, God forbid, something happened to your truck. We jump in, we got to learn how to work your ELD. He said, you have to have that in your folder. And I was like, oh my God, are you serious? But I mean, as far as like bad, like mechanical, I'm knock on wood, I haven't really had nothing really terrible, like terribly bad. Like, oh my, just, I really did. To tell you the truth, it just run into the little DOT or it'd be my most thing. Like, another thing in Alabama, I didn't know you run over the scales. And that happened a couple of weeks ago. And when you ride over the scales, they know your tire pressure.
Dang.
And when you ride over the scales, I got a pre-pass, so it didn't beat, it didn't beat red. And I was like, man. So he put me in, and he pulled out, and he came out, was like, oh, one of your tires are flat. And I looked, and he showed up. One of the inner dually tires was flat, and he knew it. I said, I know that. Like, when you ride over them scales, they know your tire pressure on each tire, and if it's not where it's at, they're going to pull you in. He said, well,
you talking about the scales on the highway, like where them lines are when you rolling, those are sensing tire pressures, and that's going to dictate if they're going to pull you in sometime.
Yeah,
I did not know.
Yeah, your tire too. I know Alabama, they did it twice. One on 20 going into Alabama, and you pull me in, and he said, when your tire? It's short enough for the tire. He's like, well, you got to park over there till you get it fixed. So luckily, there was a tire guy over there, and I was like, hey, can you check my tire? He said, well, it's still on the rim. You're good. I was like, man, just fill it up. And he filled it up, and I went up to the DOT, and I was like, hey, my tire. And he changed it, said, well, go back across the scale. Let's see. And, it was at the level where he let me go.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Know that. It's like Alabama, yeah, when you ride over it, they check your tire pressure. Now, I don't know if all of them do that, but I know Alabama for sure.
I'm going to say if Alabama got it, then other states got it, because I don't think their budget is as... Louisiana and Mississippi might not have it yet, though. I'm from Louisiana, so we got to upgrade there. Now, I got hit by BOT for tent as well. I was in Missouri. That was the first time I pulled out the NFL. I was just hoping, because I was like, my record's clean. I pulled that NFL card out. It's like, so you a Chiefs fan? And he's like, absolutely. It's like, we right here. That's our pretty much closest team. I was like, okay, cool. I was like, man, I used to play. And he's like, oh, really? Well, I'm not going to give you a ticket. Yeah, I'm going to just give you a warning. But the warning still went on there. So it was really didn't do much of a difference other than save me some money.
Right.
Then I had a cool guy out in Colorado. I didn't know you had to have the paper logs when I got started. Or, you got your ELD, but you got to have editable logs. So I didn't have any service, though. But he let me find some service and download ELD sheets from Google. And then bring them back to him. So
wow.
Yeah, so he was cool. They still got me on a few things, but he was cool. And I think like my record was good. Like my safety score was good when it was me. Now once we start growing, just like that meme you posted, people started like just messing up. I was like, golly, are y'all not doing pre-trips? We implementing so many different things, pre-trip apps, take a picture, doing all these different things, and somehow the simplest thing that can be checked is still not getting checked, and we're getting got on that in the inspections. And so that's crazy. What do you think about mentorship? Like, if somebody was to reach out to you, would you be willing to help them?
I mean, I'd be willing to help her, and that's why like a lot of people, not to saying I get brag, but everybody like, man, when people hit me up, they're like, I hit so many people up, and you be the only one that replied. I'm like, the only reason I was like that because when I got started, I didn't know. I mean, yes, I was in trucking, but I still had a lot to learn to get into iShot. I had a friend. Actually, he was working at U.S. Foods with me. He left first and started doing it. Mm-hmm. And then he used to, every day, just ask a question. Even how to get my authority set up. He is a company, he's like, it's a company at Griffith, Georgia. They'll set you up from A to Z. They won't let you, and I because I didn't know the paperwork, what to do and stuff like that. And, he did it for free of charge. Like, it went out here, I wouldn't know nothing. I'm thinking I had to do everything, and I just paid this one company. They set up my authority, he gave me an insurance agent, and they had, got me rolling. That's why my dad was somebody asked me that. Like, give you quick, ain't that fun.
Right.
People like, I said, just free information. I was like, I think you said so too. I think, well, Google, like, Google a lot of stuff, So it's like, a lot of stuff, it's just free out there.
Yeah.
We ain't got to pay for that money. If I got the time, I'm going to answer your question. If I don't know, I ask the next man.
Now that's how I got completely started from Google and YouTube. And same, I reached out to people and I wasn't getting any responses. And that's why I never really when I started the YouTube channel, I didn't know like people were, mentors or anything. I just was documenting my journey, which led people to asking questions. So then I put the book together because I noticed it was like a lot of the same questions. There was steps than here. And I think I'm probably just about to make that free as well. And that way it's just a guide out there for people. And but I put that together because it was the same question. So then I directed people there. And I go a little bit of seeing like, okay, you could get paid for information. But then now that I see where it's gone, I'm like, I don't want to be associated with that at all. Not on that level, like 2,500. Like, dang, that's your insurance. That's your startup money right there. Where you could go on Google, YouTube for free, DM a couple people, and get your whole process going. But now, man, I definitely appreciate the trucking game. I see that you are a heavy New York Giants fan. What are you from that area, or what's up with that?
Yeah, actually, I used to live in New York.
Okay.
I remember Clay decided, like, let me get out of New York. Came to Georgia and started my life.
Okay.
I started the best move I love New York, but being in the South, I was like, I'll never go back to New York.
Yeah, no, I've never been. I guess Jersey, we played the Giants when I was with the Redskins or the Commanders. So, big division games all the time. I was in the NFL for 5 seasons, 14, 15, 16. 17, I was recovering. I had broke my leg. And then 18, I went to the Colts. But that's also when I started the trucking company because I could see the end coming. So it was like, I see this door about to close. Tried personal training in the middle of that. It didn't go well. And that's when I went to the truck stop with my girl's dad and seen that hot shot. It's like, boom, there it is. And it was cool, man. I enjoyed getting into the trucking industry. It's a grind. It's definitely, actually, I'll say this. When I was driving, it was a grind, but it was a peaceful grind. Once I started growing, and if anybody who watched the channel or looked on Instagram, you see me stop posting because I was stressed out. We're for real running, trying to deal with drivers and all this different stuff. And I will say, man, having that many trucks we got up to at any time, actually rolling probably like 14 or 15, but it was hurting like my family life, all type of stuff. I was stressed out all the time on call, 2 a.m., 3 a.m. phone calls with blowouts. And so it's pretty peaceful now with having a park. We lease some of the stuff out and everything. And, we keep it.
On your truck, you ever thought about, that was one of the things I noticed that you would. I couldn't stand it, but I see why, because that's they cover the cameras that face you. They face the, how and they face the driver. And, especially you in school, it's almost like 3 strikes out. It was time like I was driving, and I remember my Twix candy bar fell on the ground, and I went to grab it, and I kind of hit the gravel a little bit. The camera went off, but the next thing, they called me to the office because the camera went off. It caused like the first 7 seconds or the last 7 seconds. And he was like, great, what you doing? I was like, oh, my man, and then it's like, even on the phone, like if you would hit a bump and that camera went off in the truck, I hated it, but now I was like, well, I kind of see why I do that, but I hated it.
Nah, yeah, they gotta cover their end. One of my issues early on was trying to be the cool. I was cool with the drivers, and then I realized like these folks don't care. They don't care. They try to get their check, and so if I start running them under my authority again, I'd definitely be a lot stricter. But we got some good things going. Some opportunities in the oil field working with. So I actually started working with a private equity company who started working with, like they had a friend in the oil field. And so that kind of came up where We found some opportunities in the oil field and then some transportation contracts and government contracting. So as we get those rolling or need to fill them more, I'm going to start posting that stuff as well. But, man, I appreciate your time. I don't want to take up too much of your Saturday. But we're going to get this edited and cleaned up and then get this posted. And then I'm going to make sure that people know where to find you because I'm sure folks going to need that help from somebody with
I had a couple people talking to me. Can I watch it down live? I was like, nah. I said, we gonna be talking. I know he gonna edit it and post it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking about getting some type of theme to where I do like one of these a week or one of these every 2 weeks.
Okay.
Trucking Tuesday or Transportation Tuesday or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. We'll all figure it out. But it definitely will get posted. I appreciate your time, man. Definitely great to have you as the first guest because I always show, give you your flowers in my posts and to be able to connect is definitely an honor for you. So best of luck out there, man. I know you're going to keep killing it. Continue to do what you do and stay safe out on that road. And then hit me up if I can return the favor in any way.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir.